Sausage.
Hello, everyone. This is Attack the Backlog. Yeah, that's what it's called. Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Marc, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This episode is all about my New Year's resolutions for 2024. That's right. This is not a traditional episode. I've never done this before, but as a means to make the end of the year a little bit easier and lighter for myself, in addition to talking about what I want to change in the show and my hopes and aspirations for the show going forward, I figured this is the perfect time to have a non-traditional episode of Attack the Backlog. And why I'm doing this is because, if you don't know, 2023 has been a really rough year for me. The prior year, 2022, ended with my father having a severe stroke, which almost ended in significant tragedy. The fact that he survived and has made an almost 100% recovery. There are some slight differences in his personality still that probably only I would notice. And it's affected me emotionally. It's been a very emotionally devastating is maybe a bit of a stretch, but it's been a very, very rough year for me on multiple fronts, emotional, physical, etc. It's just been the worst year of my life. I was able to say with definitive feelings that is the case. No longer is high school the worst time/year of my life. It is now 2023. But I want to go into 2024 with a positive outlook, with optimism. Something I didn't have this year. Because when you look at, if you pay attention, it's probably obvious to see from the games I've played this year for Attack the Backlog. I didn't play a whole hell of a lot of games I genuinely really, really wanted to play. In part, it was because time was spent doing a lot of other things. We have to remember that this whole thing, Pixelated Sausage, it is an army of one. It is me doing the writing, editing, recording, hosting of all the shows, etc. It's all me. And in addition to all this, I have regular work to do, so there's only so much time, and thankfully, I don't have much of a life, and I don't really want much of a life, a traditional, I'm going to go out and party or do fooding at restaurants type of person. So thankfully, I have that going for me that helps in this sense. But it still is a lot to handle for one person. But when I looked at what I played this year, because I wanted to go through the entire list of 25 games, this would have been the 26th, but this is not a traditional episode. There were only 10 that really stood out. Maybe 11, I could throw another one in, but 10 that I either wanted to play or ended up as pleasant surprises. Though a handful of them may have also been cushion episodes from 2022, episodes I already had in the can for a while that came out early in the year, like One Piece Pirate Warrior 4, for instance. Pretty sure I played that in 2022, but I'm not entirely sure. The rest of the games, in addition to One Piece Pirate Warrior 4, that I put down on my list, I have a list of the games that I kind of wanted to play, and then I made a list of games I would really like to get to next year. I'm not going to get to all of them, but we'll get to that list when we get there. But we have One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 to say for the third time One Piece Pirate Warrior 4, there, 4 times. Unless I counted wrong, and then that was the 5th time, and I'm an idiot. But we also have Clone Drone in the Danger Zone, which is 100% a game that I in no way had any intention to play because I didn't know it existed. But the Xbox surprised me, did me a solid, and it turned out to be one of the most pleasant surprises of the entire Attack the Backlog series. Not just last year or this year, or maybe I played it last year and put out the episode this year. Regardless, I adore that game. I think it goes in interesting places. It does crazy things, and it's just a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. I believe it recently came out to Game Pass. Definitely check that out. But then we have Slime Rancher, which I played a lot of during early access and finished, went back to and completed, including all the achievements, which was annoying for the speedrun one this year. Animal Crossing New Horizons, which of course disappointed me greatly. The Punisher, the Volition RIP game from 2004-ish, which I did not finish, and I don't think I've gone back to it outside of the streams in the episode. Then we have The Simpsons Hit and Run, Transformers War for Cybertron, Vampire Survivors, Bowser's Fury, and Terminator Resistance. Bowser's Fury is definitely a game I wanted to get around to, but I 100% play that because I knew it was short. Vampire Survivors, I was interested in, but again, played it because it was short. Transformers War for Cybertron, interested in, but not something that was at the top of my list. Again, played it because it was short. I think I thought Terminator Resistance was short, but I ended up putting 13 or so hours into it, so it didn't end up being a super short game. But I was happy to play that. And then we could also throw onto this list as the other game that I wanted to play, but again, broken record, I picked it because it was short, is Paratopic. I don't want to continue down that path of waiting and waiting and waiting to work on an episode only to play a game on the Friday it's supposed to come out, write, edit, all that jazz on the Saturday, and post it on a Sunday, which is what has been the case with a handful of the recent episodes. Again, probably very evident. And I apologize for that content. I think people have still enjoyed those episodes, but I do feel bad about my mental, emotional, physical state at times impacting this and letting that get in the way, though I've never missed an episode. And I don't want to keep doing that. I don't want to do that for me, and I don't want to do that for you. Also, in case you're wondering, this episode, if you're listening to it, the video version, if you're watching, you can tell, the video version is just going to have various clips from the games I would like to play this year. And with that said, let's get to those games. Now, I know I will not be able to get to all of these games because there are some incredibly long games here. And to think I can, in addition to everything else, the regular podcasts, etc., tackle this entire list, insane. And I took a small piece of notebook paper and filled out both sides. But I would find 2024 to be a success if I could finish 5 meatier games and 5 shorter games of stuff I really, really, really want to play. I'm still open to playing random games, and I think it would be nice if I can get into a cadence of putting out an episode every week, with off weeks being really, really short games or games that maybe I fell off of and I saved those episodes for those off weeks. But I also thought about what if I adjusted because I would like to play around with other series, bring back second runs on a more regular basis, of doing a monthly transitioning, that is, Attack the Backlog, to a monthly release, and having 4 shows, one for each Sunday. So second runs, one Sunday of the month, Attack the Backlog, one Sunday of the month, then maybe a movie/TV show, and maybe an anime show. That's just something I'm spitballing. There are lots of ideas and things I would like to try next year that I hope I'm able to do by being in a better place emotionally, mentally, etc. I would also like to do some one-off episodes, like a big, meaty thing about Remedy in preparation of playing Alan Wake 2. I would really like to replay all of their games, their quote-unquote real/main games, Max Payne 1, 2, Alan Wake, Quantum Break, Control again, all in preparation of Alan Wake 2, and America's Nightmare. But we will see how all that goes. In the meantime, the list of random games I came up with include Elden Ring, which was the first one I thought of because on my Discord, it is the one game, well, now it's the second game, or it was the first game, Alan Wake became the second game, that are completely off limits. I don't want any chance of spoilers. I guess Death Stranding would be on there too, but I never made a pinned post about saying I would end anyone who would dare spoil these games for me. But that is true for Death Stranding. But Elden Ring, I would really love to get to. Again, really meaty game. And this is something that maybe I can play through this and a few other meaty games, but I'm definitely not going to be able to get through all of the meatier games on this list. But then I would really like to return to the Yakuza series because I love the Yakuza games I've played, and I just want to play more of them, whether that be Kiwami 2 or the side story samurai game that came out, I think, at the very beginning of this year. I also thought to myself, here's a new rule for backlog games. It doesn't matter about the time since then. All they have to do is be from the previous year. So December 2024, a game that came out January 2024, not yet eligible. I thought that might be a good idea. But I want to return to the Resident Evil series, whether that be Code Veronica or Resident Evil 4 Remake. The Witcher 3, big old game right there. Cyberpunk. The Outer Worlds / The Outer Wilds. Death Stranding. BioShock 2. Final Fantasy. Any of them. Breath of Fire 4. This is a game I absolutely adored as a kid. But I never finished it because I never owned it. I rented it a handful of times, but never enough to complete it. But it is the JRPG I always think of first when I think of JRPGs I loved, because I loved everything about my time with it. It is one of the first PlayStation 1 games I bought when I was rebuying my collection that I didn't have, or when I was adding to my PlayStation 1 collection. And so I got a really nice copy of it and have yet to ever play it. But I would really like to play that one. That is definitely near the top of my list. We have Half-Life 1, which I would like to do a dual episode of playing Half-Life 1 and then immediately following that up with Black Mesa to compare and contrast. But again, that would take an additional bit of time. Kingdom Hearts. I don't know if I'm going to like Kingdom Hearts, but I would like to give it a proper shot. Mortal Kombat. I think this begins with Mortal Kombat X, where they do all the story stuff. I would like to begin those games. Shenmue. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hate Shenmue. But even so, I do really want to play it. The Last of Us Part 2. A lot of feelings about this game out there. I want to know how I feel. Batman Arkham Knight. I love the Batman games. I'd like to play that one. Which would be a fun episode to do around the release of Suicide Squad, but I think that's asking too much too soon. Kentucky Route Zero. I know there's a lot of love for this game. I think it might do interesting things that I've not been spoiled on, so I'm curious about it. I'm very, very curious because I'm not even entirely sure what kind of game it is. Hollow Knight. Ori and the Blind Forest / Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Is that what the second one's called? Spelunky. Prey, what's the name of that studio that made Redfall? Their Prey. I've already played the 2006 Prey. That is criminally underrated. Fantastic, fantastic game that people only remember for the vagina or butthole doors, whatever you want to call them. Return of the Oberdin. I really want to play that, especially since Lunchbox gifted that to me, and that was very nice. And I've still never played it. I feel bad about that. The Stanley Parable, Breath of the Wild. I would like to give that another go, which could then lead into Tears of the Kingdom. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Sonic, any of them, but I do genuinely want to play Sonic Unleashed. So that will probably be the first one, but I've never finished a single Sonic game. Valheim, Shadow of the Colossus / Eco. Never finished either of those. I didn't play much Eco. Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise, which is in line with the Yakuza desires, and you could throw in Judgment as well. And then Wolfenstein 2 and Earthbound. There are many, many other games I would like to play besides these. And I'm going to crumple up that piece of paper. But I would love to be able to tackle some of the games off that list. Of course, as you can tell, some meaty games on there. And we add even more if we include the games from this year that will become eligible, like Baldur's Gate 3, holy crap, and Alan Wake 2, Tears of the Kingdom, maybe, Starfield, definitely. It's just no way can I possibly tackle all of them in a year. Not to mention, I'd like to play another Assassin's Creed game, and it would be one of the Origins style games, which the way I play them would mean I'd play a lot of them. And that's another thing I want to do. I don't want to play a game in a rushed way because I'm trying to get it done in order to make content. I want to play games naturally. And I'm looking forward to being in a better headspace to do that. I'm going to be doing my best to do that. But it's all based on optimism and hope. And with that, I've rambled on long enough. So all I'll say is, I hope, despite some of the discrepancies this past year, that the episodes I've put out have still managed to provide you with some enjoyment, that you're still here, sticking with me, sticking with the shows, and can be optimistic about the future like I am. And hopefully we'll have a wonderful 2024 on our own and together. But with that, as always, I'm Marc Krishnez, your host. You can support me and my nonsense if you do enjoy all this stuff and what have you. That's not how it goes, but that's okay. But you can do all that over at patreon.com/pxs. In addition to the Patreon, you can get links to the site, the Discord, the YouTube, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is, again, pxsausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, I hope you enjoyed this here episode. That was not the usual episode. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're listening to this on the day it came out, Happy New Year's Eve. Depending on where you are, it may already be 2024. Happy New Year. So wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your year, however much time there may be left. If there's no time and it's already the next year, I hope you have a fantastic 2024 and beyond. But for now, adios, arrivederci, bye.